Pressure Room, Episode 2. Have you become so strong that nobody knows how to care for you? Welcome back to The Pressure Room. I'm Elisa Verhill. And today, I want to start with a sentence that hit me like a punch to the chest when I first realized it was true. Have you become so strong that nobody knows how to care for you anymore? Think about that for a moment. Not because people don't love you, not because people don't care about you, but because you've spent so many years being the strong one that you've accidentally trained everyone else around you to believe that you don't need anything. And maybe even more dangerous, you've trained yourself to believe it too. A few years ago, I was going through one of the most difficult seasons of my life. I had received a serious health diagnosis. I was facing major surgery. I was scared, exhausted, overwhelmed. And for perhaps the first time in my life, I wasn't the person helping someone else through a crisis. I was the person in the crisis. And that's when I learned something nobody had ever taught me. Being strong and being supported are not the same thing. You see, you can be incredibly strong and still be completely alone. You can be highly capable and still be deeply exhausted. You can be successful and still be carrying far more than anyone realizes. And that's what I want to talk about today, because I think there are a lot of people listening right now who have become trapped inside an identity they've never consciously chose. The identity of being the strong one, the dependable one, the responsible one, the one who always figures it out, the one who keeps everything moving, the one who carries the weight, who never falls apart, the one who everyone admires, the one who nobody worries about. And while that sounds like a compliment, it can become a prison. I know because I've lived it. I grew up on a farm in Arkansas, and from an early age, responsibility wasn't optional. You worked, you contributed, you figured things out. You handled what needed to be handled. And honestly, those lessons served me well. They helped me become the first person in my family to graduate from college. They helped me build a successful career. They helped me lead teams, solve problems, navigate difficult situations, and create opportunities I once thought were impossible. But what I didn't realize was happening underneath all of that success was something much deeper. Every accomplishment was reinforcing an identity. Be capable, be responsible, be dependable, be strong. And the world rewarded me for it. People trusted me. People relied on me. People came to me when things got difficult. People expected me to have answers. And if I'm honest, I like that. Most of us do, because being needed feels good. Being useful feels valuable. Being the person everyone depends on feels important. Until one day you realize you've become trapped inside your own usefulness. Because here's what nobody tells you. The more capable you become, the less likely people are to ask if you're okay. Not because they don't care, but because you've convinced them that you're fine. Think about it. Who gets checked on? Usually not the strongest person in the room. Usually not the leader. Usually not the person who always has it together. People tend to check on the people who appear to need help. And when you've spent years presenting yourself as capable, resilient, and unshakable, people just assume that you're okay, even when you're not. And eventually, you start assuming you're okay too, even when you're not. That's where the trap begins, because being the strong one often means you stop telling the truth. Not intentionally, but gradually. You stop saying you're tired. You stop admitting you're overwhelmed. You stop sharing what you're struggling with. You stop asking for help. And before long, you become emotionally invisible. People know what you do. People know what you've achieved. People know what you can handle, but they don't know what's happening inside you. I see this constantly with leaders, executives, entrepreneurs, parents, healthcare professionals, people carrying tremendous responsibility. They tell me things like, I'm exhausted. I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this. I feel so alone. I don't know who I am anymore. And then they'll immediately follow it with, but it's fine. No, it's not fine. And deep down, they know it isn't. They're just so accustomed to carrying everything that they don't know what else to do. Maybe that's you. Maybe you've spent years being the person everyone depends on. Maybe you've spent years carrying the emotional weight of your family, your team, your business, your relationships, your children, your aging parents, your responsibilities, your expectations, your obligations. And maybe you've become so accustomed to carrying everything that you don't even notice the weight anymore until your body notices, until your health notices, until your relationships notice, until your joy disappears, until rest feels uncomfortable, until silence feels threatening, until one day you wake up and realize you're exhausted by a life everyone else thinks is successful. That's what happened to me. My diagnosis didn't just expose a health challenge, it exposed an identity. It exposed how deeply I had connected my worth to my usefulness. It exposed how uncomfortable I was with receiving support. It exposed how difficult it was for me to simply be. Because if your value comes from what you do, what happens when you can't do? If your value comes from helping others, what happens when you're the one who needs help? If your value comes from carrying everything, what happens when life forces you to put the load down? Those questions changed me because I realized something profound. Strength is not the ability to carry everything. Strength is the ability to tell the truth. Strength is allowing yourself to be seen. Strength is admitting when you're struggling. Strength is receiving support. Strength is having boundaries. Strength is saying no. Strength is understanding that your worth has never depended on how much you can carry. Listen to that again in your mind. Your worth has never depended on how much you can carry. Not your accomplishments, not your title, not your income, not your productivity, not your ability to rescue everyone around you. Your worth exists before all of those things. And yet, so many people spend decades trying to earn something they already possess: worthiness, belonging, love, acceptance, peace. And here's what I've learned: you cannot earn what's already yours. You can only remember it. That's why the pressure room exists, not to teach you how to become more, but to help you remember who you are beneath everything you've become. Because underneath the title, the responsibilities, the expectations, the performance, there is still a human being, a person with needs, dreams, desires, limits, feelings, truth. And that person deserves care too, not just everyone else, you. So before we close today, I want to leave you with a pressure room question. I don't want you to answer it quickly. I want you to just sit with it. Maybe for tonight, maybe this weekend, maybe while you're staring out a window thinking about your life. Here's the question. Who takes care of the person everyone depends on? And if the answer is no one, what needs to change? Not someday, not next year, now. Because the strongest people I know aren't the ones who carry everything alone. The strongest people I know are the ones courageous enough to stop, to tell the truth, to ask for help, to receive the support, and to remember that they are human too. Thank you for joining me for another episode of The Pressure Room. If today's conversation resonated with you, send it to someone who is always strong, someone who always shows up, someone who carries more than they admit, because chances are they need this conversation more than anyone knows. Until next time, protect your flame, honor your truth, and remember who you are. I'm Elisa Verhill, and this is The Pressure Room, where pressure reveals purpose and leaders remember who they are.